CK3, how do we make it more interesting? Well, one of the things that we can do to make life more interesting is to pick strange and unusual cultures, or take perfectly normal cultures and do things in odd ways. So, one of the things that I do quite a bit, or have been, is I will play something I like to call the Lost Viking game. Now, the Lost Viking game is where you take your Asatru Norse character and, start them somewhere where there normally aren't any Vikings. So, you could start somewhere in Africa. You could start over in India. You could start somewhere in the Middle East. And just kind of see what happens. Now, chances are you're going to have to give up the Asatru faith within either your first or second character. Because if you're tribal, it's okay. But the moment you want to get out of the tribal phase, all of your holy sites are really, really far away. And so the likelihood that you're going to be able to adjust your religion into anything else is pretty low. So you're probably going to have to, convert to the local flavor. But also, they have these abilities that make it easier to merge your culture with other cultures. What is it? Malleable invaders, I believe it is. And it gives you a bonus to converting absorbing into another culture and making a hybrid culture, which can be really cool because, the Norse culture is pretty OP anyway, but then you can go to another area and be like, you know what I would like? I would like horse archers. I know. Let's hybridize with one of the Mongolian groups, and in addition to all my Huskulls and all those guys, I'm also going to add horse archers, just to make you even more powerful than you were before. So you can do stuff like that. And it can be fun. Also, if you can find a group that has the ability to have gender equality in your martial status, then all those fine Viking women all those fine Norse women that are not part of your family, so you can't make them into shield maidens, you can still be like, oh yeah, you've got a 23 in your prowess. Maybe you're better than most of the dudes and should go over there. Also, that was another thing I noticed. So I played a lot in East Africa, over just south of Egypt, in the Nubian area. And the Nubians are one of my favorite African tribes. They're African cultures. I think they're fantastic. But they're also giant pansies. They literally have, I think, agrarian, which actually reduces the amount of fighting prowess that they get. Well, if you come in with your Norse culture and your Norse ways of doing things, and you mix with that culture, you're gonna just stomp the crap out of the locals because you have way more prowess. And, then you integrate and you hybridize your culture. And the next thing you know, you make these wild super cultures that it's like, yeah, I kept about half the Norse stuff so I can still stomp the crap out of my neighbors. However, I also have, say it with me now, agriculture. And also they've got some other stuff. They got this one ability that's all about just, making friends with your neighbors, and another ability that, that you could take the Nile bowmen if you want, or you could take warrior queens. Warrior queens was actually shockingly good. You mix warrior queens with your Norse, and the next thing you know, it's like, oh, well, it's kind of like performative honor, only my leaders tend to now be female. And so, now, is it an OP min-max strategy? No, not really. But it is very interesting. And after you've played Crusader Kings for, 500 hours and or 1,000 hours, or however many hours you're playing, and you're like, God, I just do the same thing all the time. It's like, well then, pick a culture, take it somewhere else. Do a Lost Viking playthrough. Make your own Viking character and send them to a part of the planet where you don't normally have any of the Norse culture. By the way, be careful when you do it in the Christian or Muslim territories. Because the Christians and the Muslims are, they think you're evil. They're incredibly hostile towards any outsiders, and you're not going to be able to get married. They're all going to stomp your face in as fast as they possibly can. And while, yes, you could just be like a Muslim Norse or a Christian Norse, I don't know, just it depends on how you want to do it. Just be aware of what you're getting yourself into, because those territories do not mess around when it comes to religion. So, anyway, see what you can do. Have a good time.